you can't wait for somebody to tell you you're right or you're on the right path. You have to actually take command of that. That's not an option. And in your life, how you choose to show up, that's also an option.
This is episode 3 with inspiring innovator Shay Alsahhar.
Welcome to Take Command with Paul Gowan. I am a Mustang Marine turned international leadership consultant. Each time we come together, I bring you inspiring people and messages to help you take command of your relationships, your time, and your finances so that you are free to lead the life you want. More than taking action, greater than empowerment, take command of your life. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Innovation is seeing what everybody has seen and thinking what nobody has thought. Nobel laureate Dr. Albert St. Georgi said that. And as I sat down with this Take Command conversation with Shay Alsahhar, she really has pushed herself and developed the skills to see and think in ways that nobody else has. And it's really helped her out. This episode is all about learning and how to create change through that innovation. Shay has that track record of innovation and helping to change organizations, systems, teams, and even schools since she was a teenager. A reader, entrepreneur, athlete, artist, motivational speaker, certified high-performance coach, and IT executive, Shay doesn't waste any time. She believes in doing the best with what you have and always reaching for the next best version of yourself. Shay is a strong proponent of education and holds multiple degrees, the last of which is when she obtained her executive MBA. She takes great pride in consciously practicing a growth mindset every day with an open heart to give back through the Living Ahead podcast, of which she is a co-host and co-founder. Her message focuses on making the world a better place by spreading kindness. And in this Take Command conversation, Shay and I talk about when she challenged a teacher who is acting outside of school policy back when she was in high school, her drive to innovate at a major company like Dell, and how she leverages past lessons learned for her future. And I asked her about the tradition of choosing to wear a scarf within her religion of Islam, how she grew her team into a new section of her company, and what are the decision-making processes? What compels her to make a choice to change? And you'll also learn the surprising first conversation that Shay and I first had. I think you're going to love this one. And if you are someone who loves to innovate, then this conversation is for you. If you know someone who it's time for them to make some changes in their life and they're not sure how to do it or where the courage can come from, then send them this conversation. You can pay it forward by being that hero and champion in someone's life by sending them over this conversation. Say, hey, check out this free Take Command conversation. It's a podcast, or you can go directly to the link, paulgowan.com/003. And then make sure you follow up. Ask them what they got out of it for their life, for their relationships, and even for their business. Start a conversation, hold them accountable, and send them a couple of tips that you get from this conversation as well. Because when you reach out, whether it's to a friend, a family member, a parent, child, partner, someone in your life that you think of, that you love, that you trust, that you respect, that you want to support and be holding more accountable to their ability to create change in their life, then send it to this person. Send it over on the app in which you're watching this podcast, or again, paulgowan.com/003. And I love for you guys to connect and be part of the community as well. So if you're not yet part of the Take Command crew over on Facebook, go join that up. And let's jump on into this episode. Welcome, Take Command crew, to the Take Command podcast. It is my absolute pleasure, delight, privilege. So many other words come to mind because I have my good friend, Shay Alsahhar here. Thank you so much for joining us today, Shay.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I was looking at some of the things that we share in common, And let me go through this list just because I recognized as I was building this list, we have a lot more in common than I first realized.
Oh, really?
There's the standout pieces. You and I are both entrepreneurs. We're
Yes.
both certified high performance coaches. And then it got into some of the nuances that I didn't know. We both speak multiple languages.
We do.
You have English and what else?
Arabic. I learned Spanish for about 5 years. I wouldn't say I'm any, good at that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, working on a few.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And why did you learn Spanish?
Well, that was actually in high school, but the
Okay.
language that I wanted to learn, I learned Spanish because I live in Texas, right? So I figured that would be the most used here.
Right.
Now, a chunk of my family lives in Montreal, so French is the predominant language there.
Yeah.
So that's one of the languages I am working on. So
I love that. I love that. Both of us are involved in community service. I loved seeing
yes.
that. We're both professional speakers, motivational, inspirational speakers. And then from previous conversations, I want to acknowledge this piece. Both of us have a willingness to question that which is around us, innovate to a new approach, a unique solution to meet the unique demands of a challenge, and then a willingness to call it like it is, to tell the emperor he has no clothes. I would say, would you agree? Did I nail it?
Yes. That is absolutely true.
Yeah. There's so many places to dive in. I want to start with the innovation piece. How? Like, how did you develop that courage as a woman? And our viewers, like our listeners are not going to see this, but our viewers are going to see you're a Muslim woman. And other people might say like that's not your place to speak out or to speak up. And anybody that spends like a fraction of a second with you knows that's not the case. That you defy expectations and you have that willingness to look around you and call it like it is. Where did that start for you?
So it's funny that you mentioned that because as I work in the professional field, I see people who are like, oh, whoa, like they'll look at me like, huh, is she one of those quiet ones sitting there, and then I'll open my mouth and I, drop whatever I've got that's relevant. I open my mouth when it's relevant. Let me put it that way. I don't speak just to speak.
Yeah.
And people are generally kind of like, whoa, where did that come from? Right. And I know that people put me in a little box, unfortunately, but that
Yeah.
is not unique to me. Everybody has their own box that people are putting them in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So for me, it probably started when I was in grade school, right? So I didn't feel like I was different, right? I mean, I haven't always worn the scarf either, but when I was younger, I didn't get that I was different, and different can be defined a million different ways, right? Everybody is different and unique in their own way.
Right.
But it really started for me when in 5th grade, I wasn't wearing a scarf, obviously. I was still a child, and my mom had come to drop off something. Now, I'm light skin, light hair, light everything, so you wouldn't know just to look at me that I was Muslim, right? Not that Muslim has a color, gender, race, whatever, but most people wouldn't associate it that way. And my mom covers and she wears a scarf. So she came to drop off something. And my teacher's face was just shocked, like, oh, right? And I remember after that, she kind of looked at me, she treated me a little differently, which at first, as a kid, you get kind of like, oh, well, why is that happening to me? And why is this, right? So at a young age, I already knew that there was something different about me.
Yeah.
In that I have a different belief. Now we're going to dive into everything today. So, you can ask me just about any question. But from there, I started realizing, and as I went through school, right, I started to realize, and when I put on the scarf, obviously, I had some backlash that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember when this wasn't even a scarf related incident, but I was in school and we had a policy of when you're out for a religious holiday, you had 3 days to make up a test. and we had a holiday on a test day, and my AP geography teacher at the time wouldn't have it. She was like, "You're going to take this test today," the day I came back. And I'm like, no, that's not the policy, right?
Yeah.
And I actually took it to the principal's office. I refused to take the test. I took it to the principal's office. That was the first time I really had to take a stance, right? So from there, and it's not fun to go to the principal's office. It's not,
Especially when you're about to call out a teacher.
exactly, who you are going to have for the rest of the year. So that things it could potentially fire back at you.
Yeah.
You know, that was when I realized, okay, either I'm going to take crap from people just because I don't believe the exact same thing or a different version of what they believe, or I'm going to have to take a stance. So pretty early on, truthfully, that's how it worked out for me. I had, several, I'm lucky. I think I'm very, very lucky in that I had these challenges because it built me. It built who I am. It gave me the confidence to be the person that I choose to be and to show up in the world the way I want to show up. So that piece of innovation, as far as rebrand yourself, rebuild yourself, I always knew there was a better way. I always thought that there was a better way than just that. I have an extremely, I'm very tolerant of other people's cultures, other people's, religions, their backgrounds, all of that, because I know what that's like. I've been there. So that makes me, I think, an excellent coach because I have that level of empathy, right? Without the judgment piece that comes with it.
Right.
So, rebranding myself, reading the books, listening, to podcasts. I didn't really get into podcasts. I haven't been listening to podcasts since I was younger, right? That was something I developed as an adult. But I am a work in progress, even now. Even today, I'm not done. I have more levels that I'm reaching, and every day I'm rebranding, and every day I'm reaching for more. So
Yeah. I want to go back into a couple pieces because some of our listeners and me, I'm not familiar with at what age does a female in the Muslim religion, whether a girl, young lady, woman, at what age does she start wearing that scarf, or is it that option to wear that scarf? Tell me a little bit more about that.
sure. So the scarf is not something that is forced on anyone. Just to be clear, it's a choice.
We're going to put that in bold. I'm getting right up next to my microphone. That is a choice. I love how you're calling that out.
I am. And it's not a way to be lazy, because I get a lot of people who are like, "Oh, you're lucky, you don't have to do your hair every day." And I'm like, offended right now because, knowing me, I am not a lazy person. I take care of myself. I take care of my hair. Yes, I have hair, just for the record, for anybody who's actually there, right? And I'm not judging you by saying that, but I have heard questions,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That are all kinds of things. Do you sleep in it? Do you wear it at home? Do you, I wear it in public, right? That's where I wear it. There's not a defined age for it. It is a choice. And, there's different people who will tell you different things, right? At the end of the day, it's all about how you choose to, be modest. That's the whole concept behind it, is that you choose to be a modest person, right? And it's just a sign of it, right? It doesn't mean that I can't I can't reach for a career. It doesn't mean that I'm, going to be stuck at home with 12 children or whatever else
Right.
people make up in their minds, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Ignorance is so toxic. The good thing is you can educate ignorance. You can't fix stupid. Can we just say it like that?
We can say it like that. Yes. I really don't like when people say ignorance is bliss, because it's not.
No.
It's not. It's definitely not.
No.
And the other piece of it is that there are people who, in the US, we're all immigrants. Everybody is. Let's call it like it is. So thankfully, you are able to practice the religion you choose. Thankfully, you're able to, live the life you choose to live. And we are blessed to all be doing that.
Yeah.
And most people take that for granted, or they think, certain people should have that right and other people shouldn't.
Yeah, it's distorted, and I look at some of the ignorance that I face being a veteran, because that's an extreme minority of the population. It's a celebrated and championed part of the population, though. So that's where there's a little bit of extra grace. Having an invisible disability and choosing to use a service dog, I am met with ignorance and just stupidity. And I'm gonna speak to both of those because you can't fix stupid. But if people are ignorant and they're willing to learn, that's where is that space for education. So you were out of school. It was the school policy that when you come back, you have 3 days. You had a choice though. And there's some of the listeners that may think that they are facing some challenges in their life in which they don't have a choice. And that's going to show up in their words like I have to, or I need to, or I must. And you had a choice. What was that for you as a high school student? Because you are marvelously intelligent. You have multiple degrees. You just completed your executive MBA, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So,
I'm sure you could have just came into AP geography and just probably come in and done well, but that wasn't the point. You took a stance. You made a choice. So for our listeners at home or wherever they're at listening to this that aren't quite sure, what was it that compelled that choice for you? Because you could have taken that test and you could have done decently or pretty well, but you chose to do something different. You chose to take command is what it sounds like.
it wasn't an easy choice. Those choices, if it feels difficult, then you're on the right path. It's not supposed to be an easy choice. Yes, like I said, I risked living through hell under a teacher who was going to have a problem with me because I took this to the principal, right? If I didn't know that, I mean, I had an idea that my parents will try to support me through this, right? Which I'm extremely grateful to and for, but you always have a choice. You live in the world you create. And that was probably one of the defining moments for me, right? It definitely helped me to understand that, okay, I could have taken that test and just been stuck with the result. And, probably it would have affected my grades. There's a million pieces to it, but it wasn't fair, right? There was that lack of fairness. You're giving me this because I have a valid reason, a note from the mosque. It's not like, there's times that you can say that this is, that it was a gray area. She had a parent teacher note, a parent note or something like that.
Right.
No, but I had an official note. I knew that I was right. And you can't wait for somebody to tell you you're right or you're on the right path. You have to actually take command of that. That's not an option. And in your life, how you choose to show up, that's also an option. I don't think a lot of people understand that. I didn't understand that for the longest time. I mean, it took me till that really point. I didn't get it. But beyond that, I think how you talk about yourself, you touched on that. I should, I can't, I'm stuck. All is this, it's all lost. It's the how you talk with yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you speak to others, the things you project into the world, those are all manifesting. If you think you can't and you're stuck, then I am so sorry to tell you that you are stuck because you believe it. And the day you decide that this is not the situation for me, you are going to break through and you're going to go much further than you could even imagine.
Laying the truth down. So you took this innovation, executive MBA, and you're facing some other statistical minorities. Like you are a woman in the IT industry.
That is correct.
Atypical. Like that's not a judgment towards you. That's just statistics. And you're a woman in the IT industry in the executive suite. So how did this innovation in high school around taking command, identifying the policy, doing your research and just saying, no, this is not fair. And this is not fair by the rules that are put on me as a student. And I'm calling you out. How has that helped you, advanced you, or given you some additional opportunities to just call it like it is within the executive suite, within the IT industry, within the private sector?
That incident may has had ripple effects for sure, right? So the time somebody spoke to me in a more threatening tone because they weren't happy, right? I had to take a stance. I have to take a stance when anybody, at the same time, it's not always about getting up and filing the HR ticket and this and that, right? It's not always like that. It's also sometimes subtle, right? You walk into the conference room and people look at you like, ooh, what are we getting here?
Right, right.
That's a very natural part of it. And even with clients, sometimes they're like, is this person qualified? It's a question in their minds, which I find it to be unfortunate. But at the same time, like we said, some people don't know better or they haven't
Mhm,
learned yet.
mhm.
And so when I'm out there and in the IT world, my job is to be the best version of myself and stay true to my values. That's the other thing. I believe in fairness. I believe in kindness. I'm never going to treat somebody in a way that's um, less than kind, or try to hurt someone intentionally or anything like that. I choose to carry those values everywhere I go, whether that was in high school, whether that's in college, whether that's in
Yeah.
the workplace, whether that's even in my podcast. Wherever it is, I choose to carry those values. I choose to live within my values. And I think that for your listeners, anybody listening out there, decide what's important to you. Go through your values. You mentioned it at the beginning. We're not afraid to question the things around us. Even the
Right.
beliefs I was given at birth or handed down, I've questioned those. I've taken a look at what works for me and what doesn't, what is serving me and what isn't. So having the courage to go in and really challenge things, I think is the biggest piece of it.
And it's not always that you're asserting yourself or things that you get to do or that is according to a policy. You also use innovation. One of the things that you mentioned to me ahead of time is that you started at Dell with a group of about 20 people and ended up building an entire department. That is some innovation. That is some leadership that is built on the foundation of you living within those values. So as people are like, oh, she's living within her values, she's hampered. No, 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 no. That was a foundation. So talk about on that foundation of those values, how did you lead and grow this team into an entire department?
So it's a great story, actually. I had other IT jobs before that, right? This is the biggest job, let's say, that I had gotten into after I had graduated with my bachelor's degree. And I was actually doing my master's full time, the MBA program. I was one of about 20 people, all started in the same class. Everybody's really excited, and everyone is trying to get into these cliques and who's best friends with who. And I had a solid group of friends there too, but I never let that consume me, because when I came into Dell, I had a thought. And the thought was this: if I can fix something in a company as big as Dell, I could do anything. Right? It was this thought. It was almost like a challenge I put on myself. So I had gotten a mentor, and actually, I think how that had happened was actually by almost complete accident. But I was looking for a mentor, and my mentor happened to say yes. And as I'm listening to how the organization is going, we met every once in a while. One of the things I noticed was that they were using Access, which is like old timey stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
nobody's using Access
and
anymore,
it's
right?
rough. It's
This was
rough to
back
work with
then.
access.
It is. And I was like, oh my gosh, please tell me nobody's sitting there plotting coordinates on a US map. Oh no, 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 no.
Right, 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 right.
Now, I had a full-time job just like the other 20 people did, but it wasn't enough for me. It wasn't. I mean, the job itself, yes, consumed all my time, but it wasn't challenging, right? I didn't feel like I was getting what I needed. So I decided that I was going to do, on top of what I was already doing, my job, I was going to fix something, right? So the fix that I saw was, hey, what about analytics? Look at that. They are struggling with this, right? So I started building these charts and, use different programs, started, sharing them with my mentor, sharing them with other people. And, they made their way around, right? All of a sudden, people are like, who's this chick and where did she come from, right? So from there, I had several meetings, and then eventually I got to a point where someone said, I want to meet with her. Now, I had gone into this meeting thinking it's just a one-on-one, another person who's interested to hear how I built this, things like that. And it turned out to be an interview. Now, I showed up and I was just completely shocked, right? There was 3 people in the room, 3 different executives. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? I thought this was just a conversation. I've been having several of those. And again, keep in mind, I'm not letting my other job, the job that I was hired to do was not falling down. I was doing everything I could, but like I said, I didn't feel like it was fulfilling enough to take my entire day. So I consumed it down to a few, some hours, and then focused on this. And actually, I worked on it outside of work too. That was something that I was just so passionate to build something.
Yep.
Right?
You were hustling.
I was. Oh my gosh. Between that and then my MBA program and then, the building of that department. Now, it didn't even start as a department at first. It was just, oh my gosh, who built this and where is she? Let's.
Yeah.
And when I got the job, I had gotten a raise that placed me significantly higher than where I was. I had moved up to my boss's level, essentially, which, people are like, holy cow, what just happened, right? She's one of us 20. How the hell did she do that?
Right.
And to answer that question, and I've been asked that by some of those people, I was just always looking for an opportunity to build something. I never let the beliefs that someone else, the manager I had or the manager's manager or anyone else, define me. Yes, I was told the same thing. You cannot move up except in 3 years. That's when you'll see your first promotion, and you won't be able to move up after that till this. I mean, that was all just, yeah, okay. I got it. Yeah.
Thanks for setting the floor of what's possible here. Because I'm going to exceed that. Yeah, I love that.
And I never let that actually keep me where I am. I knew I had a goal. I was going to, surpass a certain level. Yes, it happened it looked like it happened overnight, and I was lucky, but I was busting my ass off for, 6 to 9 months outside of work, just hustling, So that was it was a good story. And then from there, I built it into its own actual department. I was very fortunate. I had a manager who saw the value in it. It grew to it helped close one of the largest deals we'd ever had within the company that we got bought into. So, timing of things works out, but, opportunities are everywhere. And if you don't have one, build one. I'm telling you.
I mean, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the stupid or ignorant. Like if you are looking for those opportunities, you can gain that education and you can create that innovation. But if you're keeping your head buried in the sand, you can't fix that. It comes down to that choice of looking for that opportunity to innovate. I love it.
And Paul, there were people who were giving me good advice, and I put that in air quotes if you can't see me.
Yeah.
It was like, listen, just put your head down. This place, you don't owe them more than the 8 to 5.
Oh my
you
God.
don't this, you don't that. And I was just like, I just toned down the mic in my head and I just keep going because that wasn't me. That doesn't follow my work ethic.
Right.
That doesn't
Right.
serve me. And, you have a choice at the end of the day. Somebody could tell you one thing, but you can knock it down and build something better.
Yeah. Well, I love that because when I was in Afghanistan as a Marine officer, I was told by this major in my section, quit rocking the boat. Go through what is required so that way you can have a combat fitness report. So that's a personnel evaluation that's marked that you did a combat tour, because that's the best thing for your career. Now, communication, especially persuasive communication, was not something I had in the United States Marine Corps. And I just said, screw your career. I'm here to support and defend the Constitution. And I was looking for ways to innovate because the enemy that I found in Afghanistan was none of them were Afghani. The majority of them wore the same uniform as me. And they had saturated all of their decision-making, all of their service to our country because of what this major was telling me, this aspect of careerism. What are the things that I do so that way I can get promoted, so that way I can get an award, so that way I can look more favorably to go up the corporate ladder within the military, is that promotion.
And I just, no, I was able to innovate and do some things there. And I love that shows up in the military, and it shows up
I
in
love it.
a major
I love
company.
it. I mean, that's a gosh, I can't say enough good things about, people like yourself who do challenge it in the face of really difficult times. I mean, being in the Marines is not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. So for you to have taken that stance, it takes a lot of guts. So
Yeah.
hats off to you, my friend.
Thanks. One of these days, I'm going to track her down and see how long she stayed in the Marine Corps and what she was able to do, uh, and affect. But yeah, that's another day. I want to know, with everything that you've done, all of this innovation, this significant change, you and our friend Kelly Moser, I'm actually going to be interviewing him next week. You guys launched a podcast. What else are you doing right now? What else is that hustle that you were taking on, you're choosing to take on as that challenge? What else is alive and well for you, Shay?
So the Living Ahead podcast on its own is definitely a big piece of it. Right now, it's still it is walking, and it's gone from crawling to walking at this stage, right? And we're identifying excellent guest speakers. I mean, we have you coming up also on there as well. We're actually building a course. So to help, Kelly and I have done something that's unique. We both live in different parts of the world. He's in Florida and I'm in Texas. So you wouldn't think that two co-hosts live
Yeah.
in completely different areas, right? The guest usually does, but we typically, the hosts are in the same area. So we found that was, interesting to a lot of people. We've gotten so many questions. So we're actually building a course on it now. So that's coming up.
I love it.
I'm on to my next position at work also. I'm helping build a new team within the IT position, IT world that I have right now. So lots of good change, lots of positive things.
When you and I first met, we had an opportunity to connect via language. Do you remember the first thing I said to you?
Yes. You said I have a superpower, and my superpower is that I can change lives in one conversation. What is your superpower? And I looked at you like, what did we just eat? What was that in the
Oh, you were
sandwich? And
angry. You looked at me like, who is this dude?
I'm like, who the hell? He wasn't drinking. I know that, I'm thinking, what is going on? And I was like, I don't know my superpower, right? And it's so funny because I don't know if your listeners know this or not, but you change lives in a conversation. It is so absolutely true. Out of that conversation, I took that to heart and ran with that conversation. And now I can definitely tell you what my superpower is.
Oh, tell me.
So it is my superpower is that I can unlock your mindset to what is possible for your life. I don't think a lot of people understand that, right? They think that this is it, right? I have this path I'm going to follow, and that's all, that's all there is to life. And being living proof that you don't have to follow the path. You don't have to do things in one order. There's no one right way to do things.
Right.
You can also challenge the way you've found your foundation to be. I can unlock people's mindsets. So that is my superpower, Paul. And I do that through my podcast. I do it through coaching. I do it through, any kind of motivational speaking. So thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure. And I think that there was one other piece of language that I pride myself on, because one of the things I did as a Marine.
Oh man, is it the word? Is it the one word I'm not allowed to say?
No. No, it's something a little bit more inspirational than that.
Okay.
Because I decided, as I was getting ready to be stationed in Okinawa, Japan. I actually just came back from there. I spent 5 weeks over there with my former wife, my 3 kiddos, healing a lot of relationships and healing a lot of things from the past. And as I'm 20 years old, getting ready to go to Okinawa, Japan, I decided, like, I'm going to be the dude that learns the language in any country I go to. And as I was getting ready to go to Afghanistan, knowing that it is a predominantly Muslim country, I know that at some point early in our conversation, I was able to say to you, Assalamu alaikum.
That is true. That's true.
And for our listeners that may not be familiar with that phrase or that etiquette within the beginning of a conversation, can you walk us through like that translation and how does that interchange go at the beginning of a conversation between two people, especially some goofy looking 6'3" white dude in the middle of a very busy restaurant who comes up and Assalamu alaikum and what's your
I was
superpower,
like,
right? Talk us, what does that mean and what is
yes.
that interchange there?
So that means peace be upon you, right? So that is in Islam, the proper greeting to greet someone is peace be upon you, right? You wish peace for other people. It was so funny because I'm looking like, whoa, all right. I mean, it's not strange that people know, but yes, I didn't expect it, right? I mean, I'm sitting there with a group of people, and actually there was another Muslim lady at that table. I don't even think she said it to me. So I was like, whoa. So yeah, so that's the proper greeting. Peace be upon you. It's a religion of peace. It's, we don't condone violence. We don't condone all the things that are portrayed in the media, right? But I thought that it touched me because I appreciate it. You know what I mean? I appreciate when somebody, is trying to connect with you on that level. And I love that you learn the languages wherever you go, or at least parts of the phrases or things like that.
Right.
That, it goes a long way because you make people feel like they're seen. They're seen through their culture, their differences, that's not you're not ignorant to just, stay through that. Now, let me be clear, I don't expect anybody to greet me like that everywhere they go, right? That's but you and I had that unique connection. So yeah, I absolutely loved it.
And what's the response? So for me, I'm saying peace be upon you. And what's the response? And give it to me in both languages.
So in Arabic, it's wa alaikum salam, right?
Okay.
Which means, and peace be upon you as well.
And I love that because growing up Catholic and studying a lot of the Christian religions, there is that aspect of within the Catholic Mass, the priest saying, peace be with you. And the congregation replies, and also with you. And then I go study Judaism and they say shalom. And I'm like, ah. And because I had studied that, it opened up an opportunity for me to innovate for peace in a way that I did not. There's no way that you could have told me for an entire career. I spent beyond my career, my life, thinking that I had this destiny to be in combat, to go kill on behalf of my country. And through language, recognizing this phrase, this beautiful phrase that was not foreign to me, peace be upon you. And also with you, and peace be with you as well. That wasn't foreign to me, but I was told that that was a foreign concept, that these people in Afghanistan were so different than me. And I get over there, and these are my people. These are farmers. These are people that have this very complex structure of family and the adjacent village. And I'm like, oh, that's Montana, where you can just loathe the other high school across town. But when a blizzard comes, and Southwest Afghanistan has these crazy climate issues, very austere environment. I'm like, this is Montana, just on the other side of the world. And how you can just like have this rivalry, but then when the blizzard shows up, everybody that's got four-wheel drive and chains, like throws chains and straps in the back of the truck, and especially before cell phones, went to go see how can we serve our neighbors. And so when I got to Afghanistan, I saw, oh, here's an opportunity to innovate for peace.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I couldn't step away from that. I felt this calling. And I just love how you've illustrated like all of these places in your life that, yes, it is a choice. And yet you have this calling. You've developed this discipline to seek out opportunity, to seek out and create innovation. And it's always in a place of service. I absolutely love that.
Thank you.
What are you, let's see, you're doing the Living Ahead podcast. We're going to put that in the
Yep.
show notes. What else is going on? Where can we find you? How can we support you with what you're doing right now?
So you can find me at Shay Alsahhar, right? That's the name on Facebook, on Instagram. You can, reach out to me directly. We have our website also. You can also reach out through the Living Ahead website. You know, if I could do anything to help anyone, please, please, please reach out to me. I mean, I'm always there to provide an encouraging word. I won't, I do my best not to judge. That's the other piece of it, right? So I do my best not to judge, and I'll always tell you there's always a way. So, don't give up on your dreams. Keep going.
Yeah. As you mentioned the dreams, we're going to wrap this up here. If you found out today, like if you woke up and found out that today is your last day on this planet, what would you do?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would, more than anything, spend time with my family. You know, I would. I have 4 amazing brothers and a wonderful sister, and parents who I absolutely love and adore. I would spend a whole lot of time with them. I'd also spend some time with my niece. And, aside from that, release a nice motivational video, telling people that there is more for you, that you can choose more. You can choose to, reach for that dream, and things that seem like that's not possible for me. I'm not X, I'm not fit, I'm not whatever, right? Those are things that are just thoughts in your head, because you can do those things. You can become fit. You can, get that education that you've always wanted. You can do, just about anything. I'm not saying that there won't be challenges, because there's plenty of challenges.
Yeah.
But how you look at your challenges, that's going to make or break you. If you look at your challenges as opportunities, what is the opportunity here? Like, I think of that truthfully in my, even being in the IT world, and being a woman who covers, a Muslim woman, I think of that. I don't think of, oh my gosh, all of the disadvantages against me statistically, the glass ceiling, the whatever. I look at it as, all right, well, I automatically, yay, I get a spotlight because I'm a little different. So, you know what? Might as well make use of that. Do good, do this, right? So turn those things that you look at as disadvantages into advantages. Do not waste your time giving yourself excuses. How you speak to yourself matters. All of those things that, I know you talk about them, we talk about them on our podcast. Those are all going to take you further or take you back. And you have a choice at the end of the day. You can choose. I mean, the whole concept behind, religion is the good versus the evil, right? Isn't that a big piece of it?
I think so.
You get
Yeah.
to choose. You get to choose. You get to choose how you show up in the world. You get to choose who you are, who you become, what's next for you. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise, and other people will. So you got to be your own cheerleader at the end of the day. So.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I want to challenge you.
All right.
I don't think today's your last day. I do want to challenge you. Reach out to your family. Reach out to your niece. This is at the time of this recording, we're dealing with COVID. So you're going to use some innovation, probably utilizing some technology to connect with these people that you love so much. And also, I want to challenge you. Launch that video, girl.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
You can crank that out today as soon as we wrap this up.
I can definitely do that. I'm a little more camera shy maybe than I'd like to admit, but I'm working on it. Work in progress every day.
I'm dropping the challenge, Shay. Since I met you, you don't back down from a challenge. So
I appreciate
that. I'm throwing that gauntlet down. I want to acknowledge you as a woman who is pious and in her faith and visibly takes that on in a time that is met with resistance, that's met with discrimination, that's met with judgment. And you continue to be a light, a beacon of light and love in the world. And you also do not have a problem or a hesitation in just saying, whoa, why are we doing that? And do not even dare tell me that that's the way it's always been done, because that is just going to add fuel to my fire. You are that leader, Shay. And it is just, my life is so much greater
having met you and had you been impacting my life, listening to your podcast. So thank you for everything that you are, that you believe in, and how you're serving. The world needs that right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I so sincerely appreciate you taking the time to, I mean, that first conversation we had was just the beginning of many. But, this is the other thing that I'm going to say. Make sure the people in your life are quality people, because who you surround yourself is going to expand your view of the world or limit it, right? And you have expanded my view of the world quite a bit. I love, even getting to meet Izzy, right? And that Izzy is
It's my service dog.
Paul's service dog, and
Yeah.
and you know you do so much, and you've given back so much. I sincerely appreciate you just as much, and I cannot wait till you and I are on stage giving the same spiel again. So
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
it is.
So look for contact information, connection information in the show notes. Last question for you, Shay. What is your definition of take command?
Take command is, this may be redundant because I've said it quite a bit, but choosing who you show up in the world to be. As simple as that. You choose it. Take command. You're not stuck. You're not alone. You're not this. You're not that. You can give yourself the little story, but at the end of the day, you choose who you show up to be in this world.
There it is. Shay Alsahhar, thank you so much for being on the Take Command podcast.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, 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 my friend. I really hope you enjoyed this conversation with Shay. I am so excited to hear about how she grows from these opportunities of these side hustles without neglecting her primary responsibilities. I want to find more ways to do this in my life. So if you enjoyed this conversation, share it with a friend with whatever podcast app that you're listening to, or send them the link to this episode, paulgowan.com/003. Text a friend right now. Be that hero in their life by sending that link over to just one friend. Copy and paste the link real quick, send it over to them on the app, wherever it is that you're listening to it, and then say, hey, let me know what you think about this. I really enjoyed this part of the episode, and start that dialogue. Be a giver in your life. If you want, go ahead and head over to Instagram and tag me in this, and be sure to tag Shay as well, as I'm sure she'd appreciate seeing her and this conversation highlighted on Instagram. Or you can just highlight the link, paulgowan.com/003. I'm so grateful for Shay, her time and her lessons on how to create change. And I'm so honored that I get to share this with you. So can you do me a favor? Leave me a rating. I don't care if it's 5 stars, 3 stars, 1 star, and leave a comment for me. So that way I know what you thought about this episode, how it's going to help you, how it's going to help your friends. Let me know. I love to give shout outs to people who share their feedback, and your comment could be featured on a future episode. Help me help others take command of their life with that rating and comment. My mission is to bring to you the brightest, the smartest, the most experienced people that I have within my network. And as I'm growing my network from all of these different walks of life, because I want to help you take command of your life, of your relationships, and of your business. You have additional power now to transform your life and reach that next level. It's up to you to learn that knowledge and that information. Where I come in is to continue to bring you that best information possible to help you grow faster and accomplish sooner. We do that better when we do it together. So thank you so much for being part of this community. If you haven't yet joined the Take Command crew, go over on Facebook, Take Command crew, answer a couple questions, and you'll be joined up. And I'm so excited to have you there. This community wouldn't be as powerful as it is without you as a part of it. So please make sure you come join the Take Command crew. And if you are a person who's stuck in your life, your relationships, your business, maybe it's you that needs that doing something different to create a different result. Maybe it's time for you to have change so you can access that next level of success faster under the guidance of an expert. Then go to paulgowan.com/apply and complete a client application. We are currently taking applications, and my team and I are really excited to see if you are a good fit for this program, because I know that it will help you grow and succeed faster than what you are currently doing. I am so grateful again for Shay on how to take command through change and innovation. And that quote from the beginning, innovation is seeing what everybody has seen and thinking what nobody has thought, from that Nobel laureate, Dr. Albert Szent-Györgyi. Shay has done this, and I think that she did a fabulous job in outlining how you can take some change, use some innovation in your life. Highlight what stood out to you the most in a comment down below, or shoot me a note over at paulgowan.com/003. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, you know what time it is. It's time to get back out there, take command, and live the life of your dreams.